Hey, welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff. You are here exclusively with us on Saturday mornings, and this is awesome. So we have a lot of things that we want to cover today. Had some topic driven that we're going to get into and discuss Flair, Spark distribution, the governance, the changes, all of that kind of came to an end, but we're going to dig in anyways, and we're going to discuss it because there are certain ramifications when a leader of a company becomes a little bit indecisive. And I want to dig into that. I want to talk about what was happening with Flair, with Spark, with the possibility of burning 85% of all the tokens. What was the outcome? Where do we sit right now? We're going to talk about some things that happen with Mark Cuban in the DeFi space. I think we've covered it. Others have potentially covered it, but it's really, really important. Also, safety, security in this space when you're buying your ledger, especially as new people are coming in. We want to get into that as well. And I want to talk more. There's been a lot of news lately about Bitcoin, energy, consumption. There's been some news coming out of Bank of England. There's definitely news coming out of El Salvador that we talked about. We need to dig into that a little bit more. There's been some really, really good statements posted on what's happening over in El Salvador, but no spark burn, false alarm. Let's get into this thing because we have a ton that we want to cover in a very short time to do it in. So who's ready to get this thing started? Because if you are, then let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
First and foremost, make sure you run out and grab your espresso of choice, because without the espresso, you might not make it through the morning or the day. I don't know. I know I got up early this morning, was out, beautiful morning before the sun rises, nice and cool out, brought the dog out, come back, get things ready, and then we're off. We're ready to go, ready to do this. So, man, Sigfredo is great. I haven't been able to veer off of the Sigfredo lately. Just ordered a couple more bags of it. But anyhow, so this is good. We've got, let's say, Ton 80 says, looks like you'll need a new topic this morning. So really interesting if we do, but we'll talk about that. Harry came in here. We've got BO's in here as well. And Chip, what is going on, Chip? So hopefully we've been having a little bit of an issue with notifications going out over the past week. Not sure if that has anything to do with the spam attacks that we had last week. We had multiple spam attacks that came in, trying to block all of them when they were hitting. So hopefully YouTube is doing more to help stop that. But hopefully we've seen all of these things go out. So, all right. So here we go. Where do we want to start? I think, one of the stories that I think I want to start with, mainly because it's relevant, as we invest, to understand the investment that we're getting into. Now, it's interesting because Mark Cuban gets into DeFi, gets into something I'd never heard about. Chip and I tried to read through this whole thing with Titan, and there was some other token involved in Titan, and we're kind of digging through it. I think it was Iron Finance, and it was a little bit confusing. So here you have Mark Cuban jumps in, and then he gets the rug pulled out of him because it basically everybody liquidates the value and basically goes to zero, almost to zero in a few hours. Now, this is the risk of getting into that space. Now, the negative aspect of something like this is that you get somebody like Mark Cuban coming in. He's got a lot of notoriety. People know who he is. People are going to maybe potentially listen and follow suit. Now, a bigger part of that is also, the mere fact that people are going to look in the mainstream and say, whoa, well, Mark Cuban got taken for a ride in DeFi. Maybe this isn't the right place for me to be in. And to an extent, he's right. Because if you look at this, look at the title of this article. It's all fun and games in DeFi until you lose money and wish you had consumer protections. Now, we know there are no consumer protections. There is no FDIC. However, if you go into a stock, there also are no consumer protections in your stock. If the company goes broke, your stock goes to zero. Oh, well. If you're trading options and you lose money, oh, well. If you're trading on margin and you lose money, that's how it works. Now, Mark Cuban loses money. All of a sudden, he's calling for DeFi regulation after he goes to zero. Now, how about don't get into a risky speculative investment without knowing that it's going to go to zero? Now, you can't tell me that this guy didn't know in advance the risk of getting into DeFi, that this whole combinator thing that he was involved in wasn't going to go to zero. And maybe he was backing it. To me, it was almost like, I don't want to call it a scam, but it's one of these things that they're trying to do all these combinations, all these things going on, make it super confusing. And then he loses money. What do you expect? This isn't, Titan and Iron wasn't some like big. It's not a big project. It's not backed by a platform. Had almost zero real world utility other than moving money around to make more money. It's all, it's like a Ponzi scheme to an extent. I'm not saying that it is, but you get into a speculative investment. He loses money. Now all of a sudden, everyone wants to look in that direction. Harry's bringing it up. These billion influencers are bad for crypto. They're 100% bad for crypto. First, you have Elon Musk playing his games, but overall, they're looking at it, and to them, it's a game. To them, what do they care? They're just messing around. But I think they do have a certain level of responsibility to be careful in what they're doing because of their influence status, because they do influence people and they're doing stupid things. They're saying stupid things. Elon Musk has said multiple stupid things in a row. And, not saying, hey, you're going to follow what he does, but based on that influence, based on who he is, you have to have an expectation that people are going to follow you mainly because of who you are. And that's the truth. So if Warren Buffett says, I'm all in on this stock, do you not think, based on his previous history of wealth generation, that people aren't going to say, he's all in, I'm all in? Now, we also know that Warren Buffett is against a lot of the technology companies. He bet against Google. He didn't invest. There are all these technology companies that he missed the boat on. And when he missed the boat, then you can look at him and say, well, he doesn't understand tech. So if he is against it, maybe I'm for it. Maybe you can make that kind of decision, but you're still rationalizing a decision on other people's opinions and other people's statements because of who they are. So Mark Cuban, another one, puts himself out there, needs to shut up, needs to keep himself out of the limelight because he's messing around. If you want true regulation, then why don't you go and lobby Congress? Why don't you go and do some investigation and do some research and understand exactly who's in the space that you can talk to? How about going to Warren Davidson, and Mark Cuban can say, hey, Warren Davidson, you got this amazing bill in front of Congress called the Token Taxonomy Act. How can I help? No, you know what he does? He goes and invests in some random project that drops, that the whole, bottom drops out of. Now, all of a sudden, he's calling for regulation. Now all of a sudden he's upset. Now, what about the past 10 years, 11 years? When the whole market's going up and down? What about all these other things? I mean, it's crazy. These types of stories are just, they're not helpful. Someone like him, it's just not helpful, what he's doing. And it's a repeat. We're on repeat over and over and over again of these guys getting involved. Now you get somebody like a MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy. Again, same thing, but He's all about Bitcoin, and he's investing, and he's looking at long-term impact of Bitcoin. Now, people are going to get involved in Bitcoin also because of what he's doing, but he's not playing games. All he's doing is investing, talking about technology, talking about the direction that the whole space is going in and where we potentially are going to be, but he's not playing the games, So Paulo Hugo says, but what do you expect? The market price, all speculation while we're waiting for utility. Exactly. That's exactly the point. Everything, the whole space is still speculative. So what's up, Stuart from Dubai? Good to see you. Glad you're on. Welcome. So here's what we have. Also want to give a big shout out to Tati. Tati, a big fan of On the Chain. So XRP Bannock says, I assume you're talking about Michael Saylor shilling the Bitcoin so his bag stay above water. He dollar cost average nicely into it from 10,000 all the way up to probably at the high in the 60. So, yeah. So anyhow, I thought this was a good place to start. All right, let's dig into this whole Flair fiasco, and then I also have a video that I want to play from Rosie Rios about Gensler. We'll talk about that, and then there's a lot of other things to talk about. So, I've been going back and forth, on this. We talked about it on Thursday night. Chip and I talked about it, and let me move this over here. Hang on. I downloaded the white paper, reading into that, looking at the governance, looking at all this stuff. But let's go simple. Let's look at this. Panda Ripple XRP put out this tweet, and he's basically retweeting what Hugo tweeted. He says, Flair distribution news, CEO Hugo announced that the previous distribution proposal will be canceled. Spark token distribution will remain at 15% with 3% per month when monthly distribution starts. Those who are concerned with tax can choose to opt out of the monthly 3%. Yes, you can definitely opt out. I believe there's an opt out. Originally, I don't believe there was an opt out. Maybe there is an opt out now. I don't know. But with the airdrop, sometimes you can't control the airdrop. The airdrop comes to you whether you want it or not. Now, I have my own opinions on this whole thing with the distribution. And in some of the scenario, I look and say, it's free. It's an airdrop. Why is anybody complaining? The other part of it really has to do with why 15% and then why 3% over the course of 3 years. So that was my original concern. I said, okay, you're going to do 15% distribution, and then you're going to spread it out over 3 years. And I also said, when he first announced it, I said, what about the tax implications? In the US, there's other tax implications in other parts of the world. So people are trying to hide behind this idea that it's only about the US when that's bullshit. Because if you really think about it, every part of the world is going to get taxed on a crypto distribution in one way or the other. You're not getting free distribution, and you're not going to have to pay tax on it. That's the whole idea of why there's confusion and discussion and angst all over the world, and every government around the world, is because they're trying to figure out how they're going to tax it, how they're going to make sure that you can't hide it. That's the whole point. Now, when you get these airdrops, is it smart to do 15%, then 3% a month? You get 3%, you can sell to pay your tax. But they're putting people in a position where you're going to have a taxable event, whether you want it or not. So if you can opt out of it, that's great. I haven't seen an opt-out clause where you can opt out of the 3% airdrop. Now, here's how we get, Hugo, Hugo comes out. Now he's announcing, based on his last tweet, I'm just going through this same thread here. Chip had shared an earlier thread, but anyhow, but he said, I made a mistake invoking governance over the distribution. I'm canceling the proposals. The distribution will remain 15% and then 3% per month. If tax creates sell pressure, then a governance proposal can be submitted by the community to curtail the distribution. Now, I have so many problems with this. First and foremost, Hugo is jeopardizing the integrity of the entire project. The moment that he came out and said he wants to move this to governance because there's a question about tax implication, in some ways, he was right about that. He didn't come out and say, I'm forcing you to do option 1. I'm forcing you to do option 2. What he said was, I'm invoking governance and I'm letting the community vote and decide on what the direction of this is going to be because of concern. Now, one of the votes was, we're not going to come to a conclusion. And it, he should have put it in there, option 1, option 2, option 3, if it's not settled. But why not give option 3 as a vote to keep it the same? Now, if you want to have a project that's based on governance, then why not start governance right now and give people this option? Why is he going centralized and dictating the course and direction of the project at this point? Because he's now fully jeopardized the integrity, in my opinion. That's my opinion, that completely jeopardized. I look at the project now, 2 days ago, hey, everything's great. We're fired up about Flair. We're fired up about the Spark token. Everything they're getting ready to do in the smart contract space is smart and right on. And we're fired up about it. Then he comes out with this idea of governance because of tax implication. I said, hey, I can get on board with that. I don't mind. I'm all over it. I'll get on board. You want to give it to and invoke governance and allow those holders and community, however governance is going to unfold, to vote on the direction right now before distribution happens. Brilliant. It's awesome. Turn it over. But he didn't do that. He didn't do that. What he did was he said, I made a mistake. Now, it's big of him to say he made a mistake, but this all happened in 24 hours. I mean, now I don't even, we'll probably get over it. There's going to be a lot of new people. A lot of people don't care about what just happened. But if anything comes out of this, the biggest concern of all of it is that Hugo is too immature to run this company as a CEO. He made a massive, massive error in judgment, and he should actually step aside and allow a business-minded person to take over the project from this point forward. He's a brilliant tech mind. That's awesome. Brilliant tech mind. David Schwartz, brilliant tech mind. David Schwartz isn't in control of Ripple or RippleNet, and I wouldn't even want him there. If David Schwartz was the CEO of RippleNet, I guarantee you 100%, Ripple wouldn't be where it's at today. I wouldn't even talk about it. I wouldn't. I'm looking at this. This is, to me, it's kind of a disaster. And again, I think we're going to overcome it. I think everything is going to move in the right direction, hopefully, mainly because of the technology. But this is a massive error in judgment. And we're going to have to see how it all unloads, unloads, whatever. Unfloats. I don't know what I was trying to say. But man, I mean, it's crazy. So Jess was saying there was a majority of leave as is. That's right. But they didn't get the vote on it. They didn't get the vote on the leave as is. if you're going to invoke governance, let governance dictate the direction and outcome of this decision. But instead, he says, I'm canceling it. I've seen this happen so many times with individuals like this, and they're just too immature in their business mind to understand how to properly drive the company forward, and they're going to make decisions like this that are detrimental. So Norseman, what's up, man? Appreciate it. Spark being centralized. This is a centralized decision. It was a centralized decision when he decided to change it, because I don't think there was governance to change it. He should have brought it to a vote. Hey, governance, there's some concern about tax. We want to bring it to a vote, to bring the vote to a vote. How about that? How about governance? We need to put this proposal. There's going to be 3 options. Here's 3 possible outcomes. I want you to vote on whether or not we should even present this to the community. You want to turn this into a DeFi space? You want to play in the DeFi sandbox? Then that's how you have to do it. If you want to maintain 100% authoritarian control over the project and continue to dictate the direction, that's great. That's your prerogative. But that's also going to impact on how you progress moving forward, how you develop your company. So I don't know. That's it. So host is saying it would have been stick with the original. Why not? Exactly. Let them vote on it. Let's stick to the original plan. But they didn't. You know. Stuart says, I totally agree. I would be totally against a change because of right. So, but let the people vote. Let the people decide. It's a global community. It's not a community of Hugo. That's it. You know, a Twitter poll. I don't exactly. It's so funny. Oh my God. So now it's back to the original, and everybody's okay. Back to the original. You know. So that's it. Norseman saying bringing on Doge was a red flag. Why even bring on Doge? I mean, I never understood that to begin with. Why Doge? You know, why bring it in? What was the purpose? Why was it needed? You know, I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, but why? You know, so, and Paulo saying, is in the US only 10% possible? But what about tax implications everywhere else? I don't know. You know, if you're going to invoke governance, let governance decide and stick with it, and let's go. You know, make it happen. That's all. So that's it. So where are we? You guys have amazing comments here. I was still looking for the feedback. Let me see. Hang on. Well, there's another one. Yeah. So Matt was saying, how can governance be invoked if there technically aren't any holders yet? Network is not even live. I don't even know. You know, I mean, that's beyond me also. And that's another question that I had. I reached out to Chip. I said, Chip, how do we vote on this? He goes, I don't think we can vote on it. And I'm like, well, who's voting on it? Hugo? He invoked governance of 1. I mean, maybe there's some holders. There's got to be holders of the actual Spark ahead of time, right? I don't know. I mean, who's the governance at this point? Maybe somebody knows out there and they can explain that. That was another part of my issue. I had no idea. I don't know. You know, I have no idea what that part is as well. So, but anyhow, you know, again, my point with all of this is that, you know, it just shows, and you see this a lot with the tech-minded, where the tech-minded are brilliant, but they can't run companies. They're not CEOs. They make different emotional type decisions based on their tech, because for them it makes sense. For others, not so much in the real world, because they're all, you know, ones and zeros in their brain, and they're brilliant, you know, but they come out of that brilliant mindset and they don't function in the real world like everybody else, because they're too above where everybody else is thinking. And CEOs are thinking more along the lines of Main Street. What's going to make this grow and go with Main Street? How do we get the people involved? You know, the tech guys don't think about it like that. So come on, man. He made a bad decision. Move on. This is the best part about talking about it. I got to talk about it. Otherwise, what's the point? That's the best part. So, all right, let's move on. That was fun. That was enjoyable. All right. Here we go. I almost removed myself from the stream. So there we go. It was all brought on too fast as well. You know, it was like, boom, this is going to happen. And then, well, late last night, like 5 hours ago, 2 a.m. Oh, I made a mistake. I'm getting rid of it. Not even a conversation, not even a vote, nothing. Just, I made a mistake. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm canceling. I don't like this. I mean, to me, it just doesn't, there's something wrong with this thought process. The decision-making process just doesn't jive with me. It just isn't good. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know. I'm super fired up about the technology. I'm super fired up about what Flair can be with the smart contract space. But this is just like a major concern for me. Just like I have a major concern for Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz and some of the others of Ripple running around comparing the energy usage of Ripple, of XRP versus Bitcoin. Hey, you want to talk about energy consumption as your technology is better? Great. But that's not how they did it. You know, their whole purpose was to focus on green. Oh, we get, had nothing to do with reality. It was just being green and being part of the woke community. And that part I don't like. You keep that out of it. You want to talk about facts about your tech, focus on your facts. Other than that, get it out of the way. See what happens, Chip? You're the balance. That's it. So anyhow, that's all good stuff. Let's turn to something interesting. Not to say that wasn't interesting, but check this out. So I was looking here, and XRP Trends posted this. I thought it was a nice clip. I think it's a current clip. The 43rd Treasurer of the U.S. and now Ripple Board of Director Rosie Rios gives the green light on Gary Gensler. The XRP infrastructure is set. So this is coming from XRP Trends. Boom, look at that. We got the video over here. How about that? Let's see what happens if I blow it up. It gets a little blurry. That's all right. Let's watch this real quick. How long is it? A minute? All right. This is going to be interesting. We're going to talk about this. Here we go. Ready? Haha. Chip, the level-headed one.
Well, I think the good news about kind of structure is, there's obviously a regulatory framework that's in place. We have a new administration. We have a lot of great people at the helm having a lot of great conversations about what happens to inspire innovation, not stymie innovation. And so,
what? I don't know. Come on. Let me back this up.
Great conversations about what happens to inspire innovation, not stymie innovation. And so, I adore Gary Gensler. I think he's going to do a fabulous job in not just in the crowdfunding space, but in the crypto space and all the other areas where I think you need level-headed people.
Chip, you hear that? Level-headed, Chip, just like you, level-headed, the level-headed one. Gary Gensler is now the level-headed one. We need level-headed people like Gary Gensler, because Rosie Rios has had multiple conversations about innovation, about how we move this forward.
There's obviously a regulatory framework that's in place. We have a new administration. We have a lot of great people at the helm having a lot of great conversations about what happens to inspire innovation.
Who are these people? Who are all these leaders? I'm sorry. I know she has to go along to get along, and she's trying to build the direction that she's moving in. Who are all these leaders that are inspiring innovation? I don't know. All right, let's see.
Not stymie innovation. And so,
okay.
I adore Gary Gensler. I think he's going to do a fabulous job in not just in the crowdfunding space, but in the crypto space and all the other areas where I think you need level-headed people who have been in the trenches.
Chip, level-headed people. Again, I had to underline that. Live in the trenches. We need level-headed to be part of this. Let's name them. Let's see who some of those level-headed are. I don't know. There's not many of them out there, Chip.
He was obviously the chair of the CFTC in the past. He knows crypto. He was at MIT studying.
Ooh, I don't mean to knock this. I mean, he's at MIT. Okay, let's just listen. All right.
This. And so he, in my opinion, obviously in the Obama administration, he was also part of the Jobs Act legislation.
She's reading this, by the way.
Among other pieces of legislation. So the regulatory framework that needs to be in place is really just beginning, in my opinion. Those discussions are happening now. And so you see a lot of, of course, you saw the news about, for example, El Salvador passing a law to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. That's a huge, huge step.
That's massive. I like what she said there. I like that. She's really brilliant. Rosie Rios is brilliant. She knows her stuff. She's really intelligent. And I like, she has to get along. I get it because of who she is, her position on the board, the outreach that she's going to have to do and working with Gensler. She's got to give him a little bit of a, pat on the back, help push him a little bit. So I get it. She has to be very, very diplomatic in how she unfolds. I don't know about this current legislation that she's referencing. I don't know about the smart people at the helm that she's referencing that are discussing innovation over trying to silence it, because we're getting a lot of conversation over silencing the technology. So it's I would really like to know, and see what she sees, because obviously she's in the know. Obviously she knows people, she's done a phenomenal, she's had an amazing career. Really amazing. So when we look at this, it amazes me, because we see this and we know kind of the exact opposite of what she's saying in terms of legislation, in terms of smart people at the helm that are leading the charge on this, because the decision makers that are leading the charge on this, we can question their intelligence on this subject matter and how they're handling it. There's a few out there. We know them. Darren Soto, congressman up in Orlando, rock star in the crypto space. You've got Mayor Castor, Tampa, rock star in the crypto space. Mayor Suarez in Miami, and we'll talk about him, rock star in the crypto space. Warren Davidson, congressman, Ohio, rock star in the crypto space. So we do have those brilliant minds in place that are there, but where are the rest? I mean, the ones that are going to actually move this to the next level in Congress, Maxine Waters, the Financial Services Committee. That's where the Token Taxonomy Act is sitting. We've got Tom Emmer, Ted Budd. There are a whole host of people. I really wish you would mention them. Just one person. I just want just one name. That's it. Not people. These whole generalities, they kill me. Just give me one name. It's kind of like Hugo when he said that they spoke to a legal scholar. What the hell is a legal scholar? Why write legal scholar? Maybe it's a language thing. But what the heck is a legal scholar? I mean, is it a legal professor, a law professor? What university do they teach at? Can you mention the person's name? This legal scholar. Can you tell us who they are? Are they a legal scholar, or they're a legal tax scholar, whatever his statement was. Again, are they a professor? Are they a professional? Are they a CEO? Do they specialize in crypto tax? Just one name. That's all I want. All these, kind of, I'm going to talk about it and leave everybody unnamed. It gets frustrating. But anyhow, I like what she's saying here, though. She gets it. She's talking about El Salvador. So let's go back to that.
Of legislation. So the regulatory framework that needs to be in place is really just beginning, in my opinion. Those discussions are happening now. And so you see a lot of, of course, you saw the news about, for example, El Salvador passing a law to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. That's a huge, huge step. So having the government, the regulators, literally kind of, trying to get ahead of this, which is really hard because government doesn't usually lead; they usually follow, right? So they.
That's a good statement. Government doesn't usually lead; they follow. This is a big statement, but I really like how she latched on to what happened in El Salvador with Bitcoin. There's going to be a lot of challenge with what they're doing over there, allowing Bitcoin to be legal tender. And we're going to talk about that also because somebody pointed out some clauses within that new law that will force merchants to accept Bitcoin, force them. So now you're going from this DeFi decentralized concept of digital asset, decentralized, giving freedom to the people, to being centralized, controlled, authoritarian on forcing people to accept that tender. So that's a whole different thing. And it's going to be interesting to see how they overcome that and they roll it out. Now, we get it. You want to use Bitcoin as legal tender. You want everyone in your country to use it. Eventually, you're going to have to tell merchants, hey, if a citizen here, wants to use it, you have to accept it. But so that's going to be an interesting obstacle. But let's go back to this real quick.
They react to innovations that are happening in the private sector. So I do think that in this administration, you do have a lot of good people at the helm, starting the conversations that needed to be started.
Again, who? One name. Just give me one name. A lot of people. There's quite a few people that are having these. Who? Just one person. Yeah. I don't know. Because you were talking about in the administration, Gary Gensler, I don't know. What's he doing? Hey, hang on a second. Let me make a phone call here. Let me call the SEC. Let me see if I can get Gary Gensler on the line here. Hang on. Do you guys remember his number? What is that? Let's see. 9, 8. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't it? What is it? 202 02 9. Whatever that number is, 8. All right, there we go. This is how we get there. So we're going to talk. Let's see if we can reach the SEC. Oh, look at that. No answer. All right. So, so anyhow, the man, it's so crazy. It's so crazy, right? So this is how they function. So all these, great people in this space, this is it right here. This is the technology that they're using. This is what they're used to. This is their mindset. However, Gary Gensler, I mean, he's already, beyond the cell phone in his brain. The guy taught crypto at MIT. I mean, that's the place to be. You go to MIT, it's smart. Oh, there you go. Jesus, 1-800 Bitcoin rules. I took off the earbuds. I can't hear you guys anymore. That's it. I can't hear you. We're going to get crazy now. Let's get crazy. Took off the earbuds. All right. So let me get rid of this. We don't need to talk about governance. Don't need that anymore. Let me get rid of that. All right. So what's next on our agenda? Next on the agenda is, this one was a crazy story. There are two crazy stories here we have to talk about. Hang on a second. One of them had to do with a $20 investment that went to like 1 trillion. And then there was no way the wallets froze and there was no way to get it out. But it was a real move in price point. Got to get this over here. Oh, and then here's what I was looking for. El Salvador forcing merchants to accept Bitcoin. And then I want to get to, actually, this one is relevant for, this is the mayor of Miami. So we're going to talk about, where did it go? Here we go. So we got Sichuan. This is horrible. God, I gotta, Chip, I forgot that thing that whatever. All right. So let's just look at this. Man invests $20 in obscure crypto, becomes trillionaire overnight. Let's see if we can get to it. Chris Williamson put $20 into crypto Rocket Bunny. Okay. This is in Newsweek. So this is like, for those that have never heard of Newsweek, this is like, it might as well, be like the it's kind of like the junk news. It's just, I don't even think, are they even relevant anymore? They're kind of like Time Magazine. Newsweek and Time Magazine, they've kind of like, they're no longer even relevant news sources, but they're still out there because they have colorful covers. They put interesting pictures and all of that. That's what's cool about them. They have a lot of pictures, so you don't have to read a lot. You can look at the titles, and overall, but look at this. So Newsweek puts this article, and again, imagine Newsweek could sit here and have a conversation about Flair. How about talk about smart contracts? How about talk about how much the crypto space has grown over the past 10 years? How about write something interesting, right? So now Rocket Bunny, no idea what exchange he's on, no idea of anything, but this nursing student was dabbling in crypto for about 8 months, and he put some money into this Rocket Bunny. No idea how, no idea who, never heard of it, whatever. Wakes up, and his holdings went from 20 to $1.4 trillion. Is it on? Oh, yeah, it's on Coinbase. That's right. It's on Coinbase. That's right. That's in the article. But the story is not even true. The guy says he bought Rocket Bunny on Coinbase. They definitely don't sell it. Yeah. So was it on Coinbase Pro? I didn't even look it up. But this, either way, just a stupid story. This is what they're focused on. So got to Coinbase. Now let's look. Let's see. Somebody can look it up. Coinbase Pro. You guys want to look it up and see if it's on Coinbase Pro, Rocket Bunny. Let's see here. See if we can dig up some Coinbase Pro, if it's possible. I don't know if I can search it. Somebody search it and see if it's on there. It's hard for me to navigate through all of this right now while I'm talking. So we got this stupid video. So anyhow, so he ends up doing it. Needless to say, he tried to move it, tried to withdraw it, and then nothing happened. He contacts Coinbase, and they basically said they were looking into it. They tried to contact Rocket Bunny and haven't heard. This is all in like a day. So I don't know. It's a silly story with a Rocket Bunny on Newsweek, another junk story. That's the type of stuff going to Main Street, right? So you get this article from Newsweek magazine on Rocket Bunny, and then you've got the whole thing with Mark Cuban. Then you've got Elon Musk, and then you've got all these other, all these crazy, commentaries. Where's the real stuff in the mainstream media? I want to hear about how they're changing, logistics, how they're changing, the whole space, how they're, how business is going to change forever. Why not focus on real stuff? 100% fake story. There you go. So Newsweek running a fake story on crypto. How about just like the Colonial Pipeline hack? All of a sudden, these Russian hackers get caught the next day or a couple of days later, and they got their keys, and they found their keys to their Bitcoin. I mean, what in the world is going on in this insane news world that everything is just so randomly fake? It's crazy. Hey, Crypto Eddie, what is going on? Good to see you on with us. It's awesome. So let's see here. Okay, check this out. Here's another interesting one. Here we go. An estate in virtual world Decentraland just sold for $1 million. Oh, come on. I'm so sick of these pop-ups. So sick of these pop-ups. I got to use Brave. I just default every time I default to Chrome, and this is what happens. I have to default to Brave or something else. But an estate in virtual world just sold for nearly $1 million. That's crazy, crazy. So Upland, I don't know if any of you guys, we had the CEO or CTO or one of them from Upland. We had him on the show a while ago. It's been a long time since we had him on. And Upland did a Spark drop. So I got like 1 point something spark for whatever amount of upland land or whatever their currency is on upland. And I don't think you can do anything with their currency, but they're doing a similar thing. But check this out, $913,000 of mana sold. Holy cow. I mean, that's insane. It's a game. And they sold an NFT version of it, and they own this property. But some of the properties, as you get into these games, are ridiculously expensive as they move up. And people have made a ton of money on these. It's mind-boggling. It really is. All right. So let's go to El Salvador. So this was interesting. This one says El Salvador doesn't need a Bitcoin mandate. That's the whole point of this article. It says the Bukele administration should consider not enforcing or eliminating Article 7 of its new law, let Bitcoin flourish on its own merits. And this is what I was talking about earlier, that they have a clause that's basically forcing everybody to accept it. Article 7, every economic agent must accept Bitcoin as payment when offered to him by whoever acquires a good or service. So what happens on the outcome? What if you don't accept it? Here you must accept, not recommended, not should, not has a rollout time period of 5 years. Must accept it. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate through all of these things. Because here you have some critics. They said this amounts to a forced tender mandate that goes far beyond a mere legal tender law, which would declare monetary medium as acceptable but not obligatory medium of exchange, and moves into the domain of coercion. So it's going to take effect in 80 days. Still uncertain. It says it seems far-fetched in the extreme to imagine the Salvadoran government will enforce a Bitcoin merchant mandate by force everywhere in the country. It's amazing. It says virtually no state on earth possesses the capacity or political will to enforce such a monetary transition. I agree. So they put something in there. It's all part of, we have to go to Bitcoin. You have to start working with Bitcoin. Just like Rosie Rios had said, and just like we've said, I think this is like a massive step forward that they voted on it, that they passed it, that it's legal tender in El Salvador. It allows them to shed the shackles of coercion on an international scale for those who want to influence them. They're trying to find a way to get their sovereignty back from an economic perspective. So they moved to Bitcoin. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but overall in this space, it's massive. It's a massive decision in that direction. It really is. It's really amazing to move in this direction. So that's what we have to say about that. I thought that was interesting. Here's another one. So I'm going to put two of these up. There's two points here. Now, we talked about the implication and ramifications of what's going on over in China. Over in China, we're starting to see that in China, we're seeing that they're shutting down Bitcoin mining in China. So now they've taken a step further. In Sichuan province, they've ordered the state power grid to cut the supply to 26 Bitcoin mining farms. Done. Now they're not cutting out. China doesn't care about an environmental impact. That's not in their conversation. That's not in their lexicon. They could care less about economic impact. That doesn't factor into their whole business model. Other parts of the world, this whole, woke green idea is first and foremost. Biden said global warming is our biggest threat. Not all these other things, but that's number one. China, it's not even on their list. They don't care about it. But what they do care about is managing control of their currency. They do care. Oh God, I'm so sick of these pop-ups. Come on, you guys, so pathetic, really. put some ads on the side. Forget about all these pop-ups. You know, this is like kindergarten, you know, web building over here with all these pop-ups. God. So, you know, 26 Bitcoin mining farms shut down. They're going to cut the supply. So it's all about control. It's all about the digital yuan. That's it. Has nothing to do with anything else. So based on the documents circulated on WeChat, verified whether government agencies have outlined two main measures in regards to closing down local Bitcoin miners. This has been triggered by the high-level comments on Bitcoin mining brought up by the Chinese State Council meeting last month. All right, they're shutting them down. They're kicking them out. Where do they go? Now, I believe Governor Abbott said, come to Texas. You can come to Texas. Bring your mining over here. We have good power over here. Now, we have someone that stepped up even further, right? The mayor of Miami. The mayor of Miami, Suarez, says, what does he say? Working to lower the cost of, so he told CNN that Miami is working to lower the cost of electricity in order to entice Bitcoin miners to move to Florida. Now, it's not just Florida because it would have to be Miami. However, it should be Florida. It could be anywhere in Florida. It could be northern Florida, it could be central Florida, it could be South Florida. But check this out. And this is where, you know, we stand out, right? This is so critical. This is why Florida needs to be the epicenter of digital asset. Forget California. California is old news. Bring it to Texas, bring it to Florida, bring it to Wyoming, bring it to Montana, bring it to all these crypto-friendly countries that have started out right off the bat, massive, right? Suarez is looking to patriate China's mining diaspora by promising the cities essentially unlimited supply of cheap nuclear energy. Chip, you see that? Unlimited, cheap nuclear energy. Not wind power, not hydropower. Unfortunately, we don't have volcano power, but cheap nuclear power is almost like volcano power, just not as cool. Volcano power is cool, right? El Salvador has volcano power. It's amazing. Iceland has volcano power. Freaking amazing. Geothermal power. If you can power your entire country off geothermal, that's awesome. Now, clean, cheap nuclear energy, which we have in Florida, it's the next best thing, right? It's the next best thing. It's very cool. Bring them down here. Hey, while we're at it, Mayor of Miami, why don't we just get rid of our the cost of all of our power? How about if we're relatively decrease our costs? Like over in Texas, the power companies can compete with one another over your business. I would love to see that here in Florida. Multiple power companies compete over our business. Let us decide who we're going to get our power from, and then let the people set up their own Bitcoin miners at a discounted rate. That would be massive. That would be awesome. I would love to see that. How amazing would that be? If you can, as an individual, the biggest cost hurdle for mining Bitcoin is power consumption, the cost of power consumption. So if you want to bring the Chinese miners over here, Mayor of Miami, why not make it possible for people in the US, in Florida, to mine Bitcoin? You want to make, put it on the next ballot, and we want to decrease our power consumption. You want us to be able to apply for some sort of tax incentive, or maybe a 5-year moratorium on paying for power to build crypto mining in Miami. Hey, I'm all in. Where can I sign up? I'm there. Let me mine for crypto and not have to pay tax. You want to talk about cheap nuclear power when us, residential, we still need to pay, a premium on electricity? Then, we got to look at this. Why are you going to patriate the Chinese miners? I get it. They have to go somewhere. Why not bring them here? But at the same time, don't just make it good for them. Make it good for us. Make it good for the space, the crypto space. Make Florida and Texas the epicenter of cryptocurrency.
That would be amazing. We already see this excitement in Texas. We see the excitement growing in Florida. We got the mayor of Miami, the mayor of Tampa. South Florida is a little bit, this is where this kind of like still, well, South Florida is Miami. I should say more like Palm Beach County, trickling into Broward is still, you know, a little bit of God's waiting room, you know, so it's still going to be a little bit difficult, you know, based on some of the mindset, but no, I'm just kidding. But this could be, you know, unbelievable. I would love to see it, you know, rolling out the red carpet. Bitcoin miners are location agnostic. Hey, why? Make them agnostic to only Florida, or we can split them up. Give them a little bit to Texas. Could you imagine the amount of money that could pour into here? Now, the one thing you patriate these Chinese miners, you can't have their profits go back to China. Their profits have to stay here. That has to be a clause. That has to be a clause. Don't just take advantage of our cheap energy and then let them send all their profits over to China. That is a no-go for me. I'll vote against that all day long. Have them keep their money here. Have them build more here. Have them, take some of the profit, pump that into more nuclear power, more nuclear research. Maybe we can figure out how to get a volcano here. Maybe we can dig down and get some geothermals. I doubt it, but how cool is that? Be amazing. I mean, it's unreal. I mean, the stuff that can happen here. So this is exciting stuff, guys. I mean, it's amazing, right? It's really, really amazing. What's one guy's, you know, problem is another's, you know, benefit. How great is that? You know, so, hey, China, good riddance. Get rid of your Bitcoin miners. You have 60% of them. Bring them to Florida, bring them to Texas. We'll have 60% of the Bitcoin miners. I'm all in favor of that. You know, I'm looking forward to that. Just don't send your money, you know, back over there. Don't take our trade secrets. Don't take anything. You want to come over here to mine? You're over here mining. None of your money goes back to China. Zero. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. Stay over here. Get U.S. citizenship. You don't go back to China. Simple. It's a simple request. Bring the mines. Bring all that. Anyhow, I don't know. That's awesome. John, I'll be commenting on your ignorance regarding the Flair situation. My ignorance on the Flair situation. Go ahead and leave the comments. If you watched my comments on it, I think they were pretty spot on. So I'd love to see your feedback. So anyhow, but you guys are awesome. John, that's the whole point of being here. We have something to discuss, something to talk about. We have to share opinions and discussion, you know? So you don't have to, you know, cast dispersions on people when you're in discourse. So go ahead and share it in the comments, John. Love to see it. I'll respond as well. Anybody else? You guys want to give feedback on the whole Flair Spark thing? It's awesome. Again, that's why we're here. We have the smartest people in the cryptocurrency space are right here with us on the chain. The on the chain community is the brightest. So it's great. It's outstanding. So XRP panic opinion, the lemon tree needs watering. It does. And you see how great it is though with those lemons, right? There's always the exact number of lemons on the lemon tree. It's perfect. It's perfect. So, so let's see, Matt D. That's why we're here, Jeff, the authenticity. So appreciate it, John. I look forward to it. You guys are amazing. Join us back here. You guys know that we're here 6 days a week, Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we'll look forward to see you here on the next one. John, that's hilarious, but I disagree. So anyhow, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow night. We'll see you on the next one. Oh, hey, if you haven't done so already, I'm sure you guys are already subscribed, but go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and that way you make sure you get notified every time we go live. That's all I've got. I don't know what you guys got, but have a great weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow night. I am out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.